Good day to all our listeners, and welcome to the Media Girls podcast. In today's episode, we will be tackling about the different issues on the internet, such as internet risk, advantages, and disadvantages. We will also be having a special segment later on that will be discussing cyberbullying. And of course, what's a podcast without some music, right? So stay tuned, sit back, relax, and happy listening. To start it all off, here's a song by a rising band named Four of Spades. Here's Mundo.
Wish 1075.
Sun, darating ang mga salita na gagaling sa aming dalawa. Kung minsan ka, wag naman sana. Ika'y kumapit na nang di makawala. Aking sinta, ikaw na ang tahanan at mundo sa pagbalik. Mananatili na sa piling mo. Mundo'y magiging ikaw. Huwag mag-alala kung nahihirapan ka. Balik ka na, sumama ka, pagmasdan mga tala. Aking sinta, ikaw na ang tahanan at mundo sa pagbalik. Mananatili na sa piling mo. Mundo'y magiging ikaw.
Grabe, iba na talaga pag OPM. Pero setting this aside, let's proceed to our main topic on this podcast, internet risk. So what are internet risks? Internet risks are basically precautions that we should always remember when on social media. It is important that these should always be observed for a smooth and fun time on social media without getting in trouble.
We know that a lot of people benefit from using social media applications. Through social networking, many businesses have grown and individual users have created many great friendships. While social media is a great source of entertainment and is a blessing to many, it can be a huge curse when one is not careful enough with how it is being used. Here are the risks to using social media. Number 1. Realize that anything you do can leak out. Knowing how social media works, we know that when we post something online, we are letting people know what's happening in our lives. So we have to be careful because it can reach out to a wide range of viewers. We have to know how to carry ourselves properly because what we do offline affects our online world and vice versa. Number 2. Do not overpromote. Focus on developing a good online presence and good relationships rather than posting everything about your business online. Number 3, do not overpost. It's okay to post from time to time. Though we have the freedom of speech, it's still better to keep something for ourselves. We have to keep it natural and never clog up anyone's feed. Number 4, keep the negativity at bay. It is natural for us to vent our frustrations from time to time, but it's a lot better to build a positive online presence. What we need to know is that what we put out in our social networks is out there forever. Let us still respect our privacy when it comes to important matters like these. Number 5, do not post sexual, religious, political, and graphic material. We have to keep in mind that there are views and contents that are not necessary to be posted online. Number 6, never fight with anyone on social networks. Many people will want to pick fights with us on social media, but we must learn the art of Deadma. As tempting as it is to tell the trolls to stop, we must keep our cool. We need to block them and report if necessary, and we must learn to never respond to them under any circumstances. And lastly, number 7, take legal action in private if necessary.
So yeah, those were just a few of the internet risks that should be observed in order to have a great time on the internet. But for now, let's have a short break and listen to some more music. Here's a rising female star named Moira De La Torre with her first hit single, Malaya.
Pasensya na kung papatulugin na muna ang pusong napagod. Kakahintay kaya sa natitirang segundong kaya ka maaari bang magkunwari akin ka pa? Mangangarap hanggang sa pagbalik, mangangarap pa rin kahit masakit. Baka sakali makita kitang muli, pagsikat ng araw, paglipas ng gabi, kundi pipilitin, hindi ba para sa'kin? Baka sakali maibalik, malaya ka na, malaya. Susuko na ang sandata, aatras na sa laban. Di dahil naduduwag, kundi dahil mahal kita. Mahirap ng labanan, mga espada ng orasan. Kung pipilitin pa, lalo lang masasaktan. Mangangarap hanggang sa pagbalik, mangangarap pa rin sakali makita kitang muli, pagsikat ng araw, paglipas ng gabi, kundi pipilitin, hindi pa para sa'kin, baka sakali maibalik. Malaya ka na, malaya.
So now, moving on to the topic that we should all be well aware of, the internet disadvantages. Yes, the internet may be full of advantages and benefits, but there are also some disadvantages that we should be aware of. So if you want to know more about these disadvantages, just keep on listening.
Disadvantages of social media. We have all heard the positive aspects of such websites. They provide complete connectivity, bring people with common interests together, and create a platform to share your life with the rest of the world. However, over all of this, if we ponder over this subject for a while, a few negatives of this new phenomenon come to light. The balance of good and evil in the world needs to be maintained. Naturally, when a far-reaching medium such as the internet brings us social networking sites that spice up our lives a little, it also attracts the fractious view of society. Some of the things that could lead to potential social disaster are: the one potential risk of social networking cited most often is that of hacking. Incidents of profiles and accounts being hacked into are commonplace. While this could be restricted to simply playing a practical joke on a friend, it sometimes leads to more serious misdemeanor or identity theft. This requires a low level of technical skill and is referred to as social engineering. This technique banks upon the psychological aspect of a friend connection. The hacker uses common interests, background, and professional information to extract sensitive information like passwords and other details from the targeted individual and use them to create an alternative identity. Just using simple data like date of birth, name, and location allows hackers to create fake social security cards, driver's licenses, and ID cards. Almost 15 million are victims, either directly or indirectly, of identity theft. The surprising part is that even though people are adequately aware of the risk, only 40% of them manage their privacy settings. Thus, investing some time on securing your account against fraudsters and unknown individuals would prove to be beneficial in the long run. Another disadvantage of social network is that it can help create something which does not exist or may not be as good as it is presented. For example, if you go to Amazon and see a product has 100% positive reviews while the other has only 20, you are likely to buy the one with 100. This is how human psychology works. So if 100 people have shared a post, you are only likely to share it too, while it may actually be a hoax or plain spam. You must have seen those click, like, and see what happens posts on Facebook. They got thousands of likes. The same illusion is created for personal lives of people. Just posting happy and party pictures do not mean one is actually happy. While social media can help people, companies create good image, it can also be used to tarnish an image with false claims. A viral social media post talking how a product can cause problems can lead to huge losses to a firm. So the company realizes most of the damage is done. Another potential hazard of putting up pictures and videos on these websites is that they could.
So there we have it, the disadvantages of social media. And for our last segment, we will be discussing a topic that is very, very common in our society nowadays, which is cyberbullying.
have been around forever, but technology now gives them a whole new platform for their actions. The old sticks and stones saying is no longer true. Both real world and online name calling can have serious emotional consequences for our kids and teens. It's not always easy to know how and when to step in as a parent. For starters, most kids use technology differently than we do. They're playing games online and sending texts on their phones at an early age. And most teens have devices that keep them constantly connected to the internet. Many are logged onto Facebook or Tumblr and chatting or texting all day. Even sending email or leaving a voicemail can seem old school to them. Their knowledge of the digital world can be intimidating to parents, but staying involved in kids' cyber world, just as in their real world, can help parents protect them from its dangers. As awareness of cyberbullying has grown, parents have learned more about how to deal with it. Here are some suggestions on what to do if this modern type of bullying has become part of your child's life. But first, what is cyberbullying? Cyberbullying is the use of technology to harass, threaten, embarrass, or target another person. By definition, it occurs among young people. When an adult is involved, it may meet the definition of cyber harassment or cyberstalking, a crime that can have legal consequences and involve jail time. Sometimes, cyberbullying can be easy to spot. For example, if your child shows you a text, tweet, or responds to a status update on Facebook that is harsh, mean, or cruel, other acts are less obvious, like impersonating a victim online or posting personal information, photos, or videos designed to hurt or embarrass another person. Some kids report that a fake account, webpage, or online persona has been created with the sole intention to harass and bully. Cyberbullying also can happen accidentally. The impersonal nature of text messages, IMs, and emails make it very hard to detect the sender's tone. One person's joke could be another's hurtful insult. Nevertheless, a repeated pattern of emails, texts, and online posts is rarely accidental. Because many kids are reluctant to report being bullied, even to their parents, it's impossible to know just how many are affected. But recent studies about cyberbullying rates have found that about 1 in 4 teens have been the victims of cyberbullying, and about 1 in 6 admit to having cyberbullied someone. In some studies, more than half of the teens surveyed said that they've experienced abuse through social media and digital media. Effects of cyberbullying. No longer limited to schoolyards or street corners, modern-day bullying can happen at home as well as at school, essentially 24 hours a day. Picked on kids can feel like they're getting blasted non-stop and that there is no escape. As long as kids have access to a phone, computer, or other device, they are at risk. Severe long-term or frequent cyberbullying can leave both victims and bullies at greater risk for anxiety, depression, and other stress-related disorders. In some rare but high-publicized cases, some kids have turned to suicide. Experts say that kids who are bullied and the bullies themselves are at a higher risk for suicidal thoughts, attempts, and completed suicides. The punishment for cyberbullies can include being suspended from school or kicked off of sports teams. Certain types of bullying can be considered crimes.
And that ends our podcast for today. We hope that you have learned a lot of lessons from the different segments that we have showcased. Thank you so much for listening. Bye!